Gregor teaches in, and I think we have some other music that's coming up from other teachers who teach in that program. And then they're part of the community, so they're performing at Cinco de Mayo, they're performing at Carnaval, and they're seeing what it's like to be part of a community experience, sharing music in a way that not only benefits themselves, but offers something to the people around them.
In today's political scene, and I'm not political, okay, but we need an outlet. This is the greatest of the greatest of the greatest of outlets. This is where people can really go and express their souls and their hearts. In our society, that's a hard thing to do for kids today. Am I right?
Absolutely.
There's so much distraction.
Yeah, a lot of distraction. And a great thing about kids playing music is that they got something in their hands, or they're using their voice. They're doing something that's real.
Self-pride.
Yeah.
I think it is.
And something they can get behind,
Yeah.
and that they can go perform in the public and have people clapping for them and feel glad about the work that they've done, and just enjoy music. And I think that's one of the great things about the Music Center, is the one thing we really try to teach is the love of the music, and really trying to just instill that in the students, and not only children, also people of all ages. I got a student I'm going to teach him later today. He's 96 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
And been teaching him for about, I don't know, since the Bush era, I guess. So,
Wow. Combs age, huh?
yeah.
Something like that.
I know, it seems like it wasn't so bad after all these days, but anyway, yeah, just
96?
96.
Wait a minute, the center is how many?
Exactly.
God bless America.
Yeah, I think he was born, what's that, 1920? 1921. Must have been
21, yeah, 96, yeah, 21.
We actually have a lot of older adults who are involved in music.
Really?
Here in the Mission District, we're doing choirs at 3 centers. So the Mission Neighborhood Center, also on Cap Street, closer to 18th. We're at Centro Latino de San Francisco, which is close to 15th and Mission at Julian. And then another one at 30th Street Senior Center. So we have like over 100 seniors, probably closer to 125, right in the Mission District singing. And they're like rock stars. They're getting gigs all the time.
Really?
Because it's so amazing to see older people in a group powerfully singing together, and it's a whole different model of what it's like to grow older together in community, doing things that are very engaging and meaningful.
Let me tell you something about that growing older. Daily, you hear somebody passing, and a lot of people are passing because they're alone and they're lonely, and this is a great outlet. This is something that can give you some spirit, so to speak. Am I right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we hear from the folks who are singing that, before they joined the choir, that they felt more isolated.
Yeah.
But now, weekly, they're coming together, they're with other people, they're singing music that means something to them. In the case of the Mission District choirs, they're singing music from Mexico, Latin America. They can bring their old favorites to the choir director and, ask him to do this one, and, it brings them together. And in a way, it helps them be leaders in their own community. So yeah, it's a huge impact.
Plus
Yeah.
they make good music.
And they make great music,
The moral of all this, the moral of this whole tale is the fact that you have people in their 90s, 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, wanting to live and wanting to, do the things in life that make them live every day. That's a good thing.
Absolutely.
It gives you a little bit of a motivation. And you guys are wonderful to be human beings in that theater of doing that. Especially with older people who are really having a hard time.
Well, we feel very honored to be able to work with the elders. It's not just humbling, but it's just a wonderful feeling to be able to work with these people and really learn from them. I can learn.
They are history.
And I learn so much. I think I learn more from my older students than they learn from me, to be honest. Especially that generation from World War II generation and before. Those guys, they had there's no, they're real.
I hitchhiked this country in 1958, 59, 60, and then 59, 60. 2 years, I just hanging out with Donna in Sinaloa. The old, and back then there was no border really. You just walked across the bridge, and wave your hand and kept on going. There was no guard or anything. And I used to go down there, and I enjoyed that so much. That's where my mom was from. And it was just like another year, another day, walking across, and to actually hear the music come today, and it's still here, still giving people, that bravado in life, that feeling, doing something in life. Again, you guys asked, how did you get started in this? What made you come with this?
At the music center?
Right.
Well, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. I think that at first I got into teaching.
20 years though. You've been there 20 years.
Yeah, I think to be honest, I think I first got into teaching just because it's hard to make money gigging.
Yeah, it is.
And you got to fill in the gaps. But then, and I didn't even think about it twice. It was just like something to do. But then the more that I got involved in teaching, at the beginning it was mostly teaching kids, I kind of realized that, gosh, this is really something that, it's really something that's important. And
Yeah.
something I can give to children and also to adults. And then when I got into the music center, I had a friend, Chus Alonso, who's a flute player, and he was a program manager.
They're different people, flute players. They're different people out there.
Yeah, they are. They got their own way of.
Yes, they do.
Their own way of thinking.
Yeah,
Especially the Spanish one.
yeah. Very intense people.
Yeah.
Yeah, super intense. And I know that. Tell me something. What has this done for you physically and psychologically over the years? How has it made you feel that you've made all these people happy? And that's what this is all about, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Making people happy.
Yeah, it is. It's all about, joy. And the
Yeah.
joy of music and sharing that joy. And that was one thing that I could come from as a performer, because I love to perform. I especially love to perform dance music. Because that's like the most joyful kind of music. When someone's out there dancing on the dance floor, that whether or not you're grooving or you're not grooving.
Right. Yeah.
Because if it's not happening, they're not going to be dancing.
Right.
And so, to be able to share that joy in music with people and to have them be able to appreciate that. Plus, I think that it really not only just expands like your experiences, but it really kind of, I think that taking music lessons makes you smarter.
Oh, really?
Because it makes you have to think,
Look out.
to learn,
I'll be there.
to play an instrument, you have to think in a totally different way.
Right.
And so it's very, very interesting to watch, students learn and to tackle different problems and to learn new kind of ways of thinking about things. And for people of all ages, and especially for kids, of course, it's good to give that kind of education. And that education, it's you don't just get it anywhere.
Positive diversion. That's what I like to
That's
live with.
right. Yeah.
It gets them involved in something where they have some pride in. We always talk about pride and stuff like that, but we never live it out properly. Kids today they're fractured very hard. They don't know if they go to the street or to school or to whatever, and this is one of the things I'm saying to you. Hopefully you just capture their attention and put them in a perspective where they're actually doing something positive and it enhances life. Am I right?
Yeah. You're getting them off the screen.
Yeah.
You're getting them off away from the screens.
Yeah.
And getting to do something that's hands-on.
Right.
And they can also understand their failures too, or they understand what it means to work and to be able to succeed, or what it takes in order to get something done.
Wow. Failing and succeeding and failing and succeeding, it builds a person's character.
That's, yeah.
Teaches you nothing is perfect and you have to strive every day, and this is what the musical world is striving for perfection. Look at Thelonious Monk. The people, Miles Davis. I met Miles Davis back in 1962. Yeah, I met him. He's different. But anyway, music is what they call the nectar of the gods, and physically and psychologically. Am I right?
Absolutely.
This is what makes us who we are. Tell me a little bit about you. I want to hear about what made you get into this stuff, and you're in it like a soldier.
Oh, well, thank you for that. I've been involved in community arts for a while. After college, I ended up getting involved at a cultural center in the East Bay called La Peña Cultural Center. And I was drawn there because it was a time when there was a lot going on in Latin America, and they were using art to kind of be part of community organizing to support social movements in Latin America. A lot of Chileans there, Central Americans. This was in the 80s. And I really saw how music was such important and joyful way to help people understand how other people live. So when you're hearing music from Cuba or from Chile or from the Bronx, you're learning about how other people live, who they are, what their issues are, daily life. And I was very drawn to that. Music was a very powerful language, and I was able as an adult to really start pursuing music in a more serious way through the arts education program at La Peña.
You know what? I was down in Miami last year, and La Habana, people flocked down there just for the music.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird, you know, how that happens.
Well, because the music is beautiful. So
Yeah, it
people
is.
enjoy, whether you actually understand the words
Right.
of music from another culture, you can still understand what's being said. So I have just been drawn to how the arts can be part of community and how music education can open so many doors,
Positive
no
support
matter
again.
what age
Positive support.
you are. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes people again. Where do you endeavor going from here, from now on, doing this? And I mean, what's your goal?
Well,
I'm gonna put that one on you, okay?
the goal for the Community Music Center?
Right.
Well, the Community
And you personally.
Well, for Community Music Center, I think that it's going to continue doing what it's been doing for the last 95 years. And it's going to continue to serve the community, but in many, many different ways. It's going to do it by offering that tuition-free classes, and we hope people will check out the website to find out how they can get involved. And offering a number of different classes that just keep like responding to people's interests, because we started off doing classical music 95 years ago, but now we're doing Chinese music, we're doing Latin music, we're doing
Chinese music?
we're doing jazz, gospel, blues. So we're gonna keep evolving and providing classes to the community that people are enjoying. And we also respond to different community groups around the city. So we don't just have choirs here in the Mission, but we have older adult choirs in 12 different spots around the city. So whether it be in the Mission, Bayview, Western Addition, the Marina, the Richmond, out by San Francisco State, senior centers who wanted to have their seniors get involved were responding by providing that program. Local neighborhood center, they have a preschool program. They're trying to figure out how they can provide music for their kids in the preschool in Spanish language and with Latin music. So we're going to be developing music for little kids that respond to the needs of that community. So I think that's where it's at, is to keep responding to what the community needs with different kinds of music programs. And that's really exciting and gratifying, and developing our faculty so that they
You're listening to Thoughts of a Common Man with Charles the Chief Williams on Radio Valencia, the sounds of the Mission.
Wow. Look out, folks. We have two powerhouses in the musical industry right now and support people for everyday thoughts of common people, everyday people like you and I, that get out and want to sing, want to dance, want to stay healthy, psychologically and emotional. That's what music does, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. It just makes you feel good, and it makes you feel good to share it with other people.
And Sylvia, would you like to tell us about that selection we just heard?
Oh, thank you. Okay, well, I know today we're sharing a lot of music from Community Music Center faculty, but that was not. That was the great Wes
That
Montgomery.
was Wes.
And really wanted to share that one because in the tradition, he was such a standard bearer, such an amazing pioneer, beautiful jazz and beautiful guitar work, that you know, we have folks at CMC who share that same love of music and help young kids and adults learn more about jazz and guitar. And
You want to put your numbers out there again, tell people where you are in the hours that you are open?
oh yeah, sure. So
Okay.
CMC Cap Street between 20th and 21st, 544 Cap Street.
That's right back here.
Yeah, it's right.
Right here.
I don't know where.
Block and a half away.
Block and a half,
Yeah.
yeah. This way. This
That way, okay,
Yeah,
that way.
this way.
And let's see, we're on the web at SF for San Francisco Community Music Center, sfcmc.org. And we always have people by the phone waiting to speak with you at 647-6015. But yeah, we have some amazing guitar teachers and we have some amazing jazz opportunities. I was mentioning earlier the great Marcus Shelby, who many people
Oh, really?
know. Yeah, he's teaching the Teen Jazz Orchestra. This
Wow.
is something every Tuesday afternoon from 4:15 to 6:15. These are for teens. It's a free opportunity, and they are learning from one of the best. I mean, he's telling them about the history of jazz. He's, helping them understand not just how to play the music, but where it comes from. And when he shares his own original music, he talks about why he created it. He has a piece that's right about 21st and Mission, actually dedicated to the legacy of Bruno's. But that live music scene that came up at Bruno's in the 90s. So he's a real gem, and those kids do an amazing
It's
job.
nice to hear.
They're young
Somebody
lions.
that much prominence.
Every Tuesday he's there. It's
Wow.
amazing. And they do performances in the community. He brings them along with him whenever he, not whenever, but sometimes when he has shows, they'll open for him.
Wow.
And I think they'll be at the Red Poppy in March. So yeah, that's an amazing opportunity, and that's open enrollment. If you have a child in your life, a teen, and they're interested in jazz, that's a great opportunity for them.
Wow. You came in with an instrument.
Yeah, I play the violin.
How
I teach
many
violin.
do you play?
How many instruments do I play? Well, one at a time.
Most string people
Let
can
me
play
think.
several.
Well, the thing is, the violin is so challenging. I do play a few traditional Mexican jarocho instruments.
All right.
I can play a little guitarra leson and something called leon, which is like a bass instrument.
Yeah.
But and then I play hand percussion
Wow.
for Cuban stuff, mostly guido, clave, and that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
The guido is actually a very hard instrument to play. It looks like you're just going chicka chicka check, chicka check, chicka check.
Yeah.
It's like it takes some technique.
Concentration.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, Traeger surprised us because he works in one of our camps, our Camp CMC for kids who play in a band, and he got up and accompanied the kids on upright bass. So you have a little.
A little bit. Yeah, I used to play bass when I was in high school.
Wow.
Up in Soda.
So, what is your vision as a person into this industry, number one, Trevor, and then Sylvia, what is your vision or where you're going in? You got to be enjoying yourself. You got to be in love with what you do, and this is one of the things we tell people: find out what your love is and what you love to do. You're in that abyss of things, of positive elements in this thing. Am I right? Where are you going with this?
Well, I mean, I think I spoke a little bit about community vision, but what is so
I'm talking about you.
me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm always working on my music as well. So
Oh.
I, gotta practice what you preach. I'm always working on my
So
music.
what do you play?
I play bass and also percussion.
We were actually playing last night together.
We were playing
Really?
last night
Yeah.
together, yeah. But for me, sometimes it's a very small vision. It's thinking about that Wes Montgomery tune. I'm thinking about one of our students, Aaron, who's just an amazing teenager. Who you see him year after year. He keeps working on his music, and he's a beautiful, bright light. I mean, he started off as just taking private guitar lessons, and then you would see him working out a tune, and he would start playing the head of the tune and, run through the whole form, and then he would take a solo and, do different variations on just the way Wes would, right? I'm sure he listened to Wes when he was working on his stuff, doing lyrical stuff, doing chords, and then take it out. So he was like a one-person performer. Anyway, he's come along. He's in one of our Young Musicians programs, and last summer he surprised us because he wanted to give back to the community. So he volunteered at one of our camps. So he was helping the kids who are younger than him.
This is what we're talking about
By
today.
being an intern and a
Yeah.
supporter of the camp. So when I see that kind of evolution in any of our students or, you know, someone in our community, it's deeply gratifying, deeply gratifying.
Makes you feel good. That was
Yeah.
my question, you know, where are you going with this? You're probably gonna do this for the rest of your life, am I right?
I think so. I've been doing it for a little while. So
That-
why
that-
why stop? We're fortunate to be able to do things that have meaning. So I'm very,
That you love.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my point, okay? That was my point. You know, you being this and you too. You
Yeah,
probably
we
be-
hope to keep doing what we're doing now.
You know, there was
This
an
is
old
it.
saying, that when your spirit engulfs other people's spirit, it prolongs life. You know, that's the old saying, that, you know, people talk like that more. But you know what, when people are people and people support people, you know, it makes life much more palatable, you know, and it gives motivation.
Well, music is a safe space. I think it is. And, you know, we know about the amazing legacy of San Francisco as a sanctuary city. A place, a safe haven where people can come and not worried about, you know, all those things out there. I think of music as sanctuary. Music is that safe place where, you know, regardless of your background, regardless of what happened to you that day, you can engage in that language of music and just be the same as the person next to you.
I'm going to say something again. We have a hell of a mayor here in San Francisco. You know, it takes that, along with the two of you and the whole team of people in the city that are in the same element of making things positive and doing this. What makes San Francisco San Francisco. Mayor Ed Lee. People say, oh, this and that. Yeah, let me tell you, we got a damn good mayor here. And his chief of staff, Steve Kava, they work hard. And one of the things I know he supports the mission because he's out here all the time. You know, and I'm looking at the fact that we're very blessed to be in this situation. And you guys are you guys are what I call soldiers in the community. And this is what we need. And you're teaching people to be soldiers. And you are a positive example of all these young kids that are around here. And there's a lot of stuff going on here right now. There's a lot of fear. But you know, you're a pinnacle in these people's lives. And we appreciate that. This is why we got you right here on Radio Valencia. Thoughts of a Common Man. That's what this show is all about. Common people networking and talking to others and supporting others. No matter who the hell you are or what you are, you can even have 1 foot. We're going to support you. You know, and music to me is the avenue for getting that. What started you in music?
Well, my dad was a musician.
Oh God.
Yeah. So although I didn't play as much when I was a kid, I have memories of him playing all the time. So I think that's
So what
always
did he
been-
play?
He played piano.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I think that, I was lucky to have that kind of in my DNA growing up, and we would sing together as a family, and, that was so much fun. So I think, as an adult, getting to be reconnected with music and to be able to have it be a main part of my life has just been, in a way, connecting me back to my early childhood and my family experience, but in a very different way. So it's very special.
Trevor, you want to put your bit in on that one too?
Well, how I started?
Yeah,
I started when I was 4. I started playing violin.
I read that.
Yeah, both of my grandparents, both my grandfathers were musicians.
Ah.
My mother's father was a music educator, played a million instruments, and we lived in Illinois at the time. Normal. It was funny. We moved from Paradise, California, to Normal, Illinois. And,
That was a transition, wasn't it?
well, I was 4, so it was all cool. They had snow. That was fun. But there was a couple musicians lived below us, in the apartment below us, and my parents would do their laundry. And the woman, she was from Japan, she'd give me a violin lesson every day
Really?
for the first year. And so I was very, very privileged to be able to get that exposure to music.
Classical music.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up loving classical. I still love classical music. I love to play Mozart. Mozart especially is one of my. He's just such a. You can always find something new. Or Bach too. You always find something new when you're playing it or when you're listening to it. And I was at fanatic about opera when I was in high school for some reason.
I sing opera, you know that?
Oh, yeah?
No.
Let's hear it. What you got?
No,
Bit about
me,
me,
no.
especially one. Since you were 16, I understand
What's that?
that you've been performing professionally since you were 16.
Yeah, I got in the Berkeley Symphony. I was playing the Oakland Youth Symphony under Kent
Yeah, man.
McDonough,
Uh-huh.
and I wrote it. He knew that I composed music, and he said, "Well, why don't you write something for the Youth Symphony?"
Wow.
And so I wrote wasn't such a great piece, to be honest. It had a good intro though. It was like a concerto for drum set and orchestra. And then he asked me to play. We were doing some Frank Zappa music in the
Frank
Berkeley
Zappa, really?
Yeah, in Berkeley Symphony. And he said, "Why don't you
Wow.
come over and this would be a good challenge for you." He kind of took me under his wing. It was
Uh-huh.
very. He was also, Kent Nagano was also a great music educator. He was director of the London Symphony Orchestra at the time.
Yeah, I
And
remember the name.
He'd
Yeah.
still be flying back to Oakland
Really?
to direct the Oakland Youth Symphony for like basically free. I mean, the guy, so that was a big inspiration for me too.
So you're a powerhouse. You're right here in the Mission.
Right in the Mission.
Dang it, man.
You know, one of the things that Traeger's involved in is there's a mariachi program in the San
Oh,
Francisco
yeah, that's
Unified School District. And
Oh.
what I love about that is that, Traeger and I were lucky that we had some musicians in our family. And, most people know someone who's a musician, but not everyone gets a chance to go through formal education. So what I love about this program that the district started a couple of years ago is to bring mariachi into the school district. It's an amazing education. I mean, it's got the same structure as an orchestra program, but
Sure
with
does.
music from Mexico.
Sure
So
does.
they're taking kids who haven't had the opportunity to study formally, who might not have thought of themselves as being able to really have a music education, but because it's mariachi music, they're like, oh, well, I think I could do that. And so violins and vocals and
Guitar,
brass,
guitar,
trumpet, yeah. And so you're in Mission High in Cesar Chavez, right?
Yeah, I
And-
teach in Cesar Chavez Elementary and also at Mission High School.
And
Oh,
we have-
really?
And we have other faculty, Miguel Govea, longtime Mission District person.
Marta Salazar.
Over at Buena Vista Horace Mann, and Marta also at Mission and at Fairmont. So talk a little bit about that program. That's really cool.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's been great. We've been doing it, we're in about a couple of years now. We're halfway through the second year. And it's a partnership between the Community Music Center and the San Francisco Unified School District. And what we do is that, there's working teachers and working musicians and people that have played a lot of mariachi music and professional mariachi musicians. In fact, we have one alumni from the Community Music Center who's since become a professional mariachi musician, and now he's teaching at Mission High School, and I think a couple other schools over there too. So that's really good because he's just a young cat, and he's teaching other high school kids. And we send a few teachers to each class, and we get the violins going. When we go into Mission High, we go into the auditorium, which is great because I don't know if you've ever been there in the theater. It's like this beautiful, huge Art Deco theater there. So there we are sitting on the stage with about 10 kids and just working on violin music and going around. And it's not exactly like private lessons, but it is a great opportunity for the kids to be able to learn mariachi music and just learn
Black, Native American mulatto. So I tell people to
You're
live.
listening to Thoughts of a Common
Gusto.
Man with Charles the Chief Williams on Radio Valencia, the sounds of the mission.
And we are bringing you, and we are bringing you, and we are bringing. Hey, I like that echo, that kind of stuff just freaks people out. We're bringing you really the sounds of the music today, and Trevor, and Sylvia. And you guys are so unique. I mean, the two of you are unique human beings.
Yes, and I will let Sylvia describe the selection we just heard.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. That was CMC faculty member Javier Cabanillas. That was an original song by him that he recently came out, Esto Puede Ser Eso. And he's a talented young guy.
Sounds good.
Yeah, he has a nice sound there. I liked what he did. And we were talking about how it brought a little bit of that Carlos Santana sound, but with his own flavor. So I like that piece. And
A violin with a Santana sound to
yeah.
it.
And Javier's been a great teacher. He's part of also the same program that Traeger is with at the Mission District Young Musicians Program. He coaches the percussion section. So he plays congas, timbales, trap set, bongo. And he takes a lot of care to get those kids to really understand what an important piece of Latin music percussion is, because they're driving the band, they're the motor, they're the engine. So, and he was part of a project that both Traeger and him were part of last year when we commissioned John Calloway, a musician here in San Francisco, to do a musical history of the mission. So that was a really fun project. It was at Brava Theater,
Bet
big
you it was
show.
a big project, wasn't it?
And it had the whole range of music from the last 50 years, whether it be Latin rock, whether it be Mexican music, whether it be funk and, blues, doo-wop, hip-hop, all those musical flavors, kind of bringing into the story how music has been side by side a lot of important social and cultural movements. So our kids got a chance to be part of that, and that was super fun, and Javier was part of that.
Son de la Misión.
Son de la Misión. It actually was so popular it came back in November for another
Really?
show. Yeah, it was a really fun experience.
Yeah.
So when are you guys gonna put on something big again?
Well, how big is big? I mean, we used to do something called the Posarela, which was like a kind of Christmas show with
Right.
a little political
Flavor.
flavor to it, and we involved the senior choir and the children's choir, and also the folks from the young musicians, the Mission District Young Musicians Program, and we'd also do collaborations with local theater groups, and we quit doing that because we did it for 10 years, and it was and Carlos Baron actually.
How big is a great question, because sometimes the biggest things can actually be quite small. Thinking about right now, actually Javier, the person whose music we just saw, he's over at Marshall Elementary teaching guitar. And those kids, it'll be their very first recital in March. And, yay, how important is that, the very first time that you play music for other people? So those are the kind of big moments that come in small packages that happen at CMC all the time. We have recitals, student performances just about every weekend, and we have some of the best and the brightest musicians coming in to do performances and talk about here's some nice music.
The first time I came to the Community Music Center, I walked into this courtyard
Where you
and I
got
thought
some,
it was
you
little
know,
paradise.
Turn it on at YouTube. Turn it
You got
off. Just
a
exit
computer
off.
with a mind of his own.
You just have this opportunity to look into the life of
Oh, yeah.
so many different people, where it doesn't really
So
matter
if you
what
go
your
to our
background.
website, you too can see that video.
Yeah.
But
We're looking at stuff on the computer, and you guys are quite busy.
we got
Yeah.
stuff going on all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have these great artists come in, and I'm forgetting his name right now. It's actually a guitarist who's coming in. I think David Russell's his name. And he's like a big deal that SF Performances brings in, and then he comes to CMC to do a little concert with a conversation. So he talks about, how he practices and how he chooses his repertoire and his collaborations. So we try to share all kinds of stuff like that with the community.
You guys are very integral in training kids and getting the interest and keeping the interest. That is one of the big things in kids, am I right? Keeping the interest and keeping them hyped up and keeping them going every day.
Yeah, keeping all the students really motivated.
Yeah.
And one of the ways to really do that is to give them performance opportunities, so that his music is about sharing the music and playing it for people, and sharing that with the listener, some sort of listeners. And one thing that we really try to do at the Community Music Center is provide performance opportunities, so it's not just like you're at home practicing by yourself all the time. That you can actually get out there and play in a group or play a recital, in front of an audience. And the concert hall is like, there's stuff going on there. I mean, it's not that we have performances every night of the week, but there's stuff going on there every night of the week.
Really?
Yeah, well, there's either
So if just people want to come down, do you guys take donations?
Sure, absolutely.
That's what I want to
Thank
bring
you.
up. If people want to donate something to you, you want to tell them how to do it?
Sure, they can just, well, they can call us up, or they can go to the website. You know, people contribute in all different kind of ways. We have, we always need volunteers. Just yesterday, we took an electric keyboard out of the back of a woman's trunk who wanted to donate. We actually needed it because we just had one that broke. So there's a place where you can talk about contribution of an instrument, and of course, you know, we always accept whatever kind of donation of support.
Yeah, it does take, you know, it takes a lot of money to run the organization.
Sure, I
And
figured that.
it's a very lean organization in a lot of ways because, you know, they try to pay the teachers as much as they can,
Right.
but keep the cost as low as they can for the students.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you probably know what the percentage is, but I think we have a very, very large percentage of people that are doing a sliding scale or getting classes for free.
Yeah, I think this year, we're gonna be giving out about almost $2 million in scholarship and tuition assistance, 1.9.
Blow me away again.
1.9 million, yeah.
Blow me away again.
Yeah.
1.9 million.
Yeah,
So we want people to get off their butts and get over there and get off your duff. So what do you want to get off of the couch, the TV? Get over there and give a few dollars. Am I right?
Yeah.
And we, you know, if you're going to give an instrument, have them look at it before you give it. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Before you take it over, and violins, congas, you know, bongos, you know, all that kind of stuff, you know, that you got sitting in the garage. If it's been sitting too long, keep it. But if you got some good stuff like a Stradivarius,
Oh, yeah, we'll take it.
am I right?
But you know, I think the whole commitment to tuition assistance is really about making it possible.
Right.
And we try and provide opportunities for people who, you know, want to check something out or
Right.
make music. We try and make them possible. So we started doing these open houses. And the next open house, we call them CMC Sundays, is going to be in March. It's always on a Sunday afternoon. And this one's going to be on Sunday, March 12th. And we give the opportunity for people to try out what a private lesson is like. So you
Oh,
can
really?
sign up for a private lesson on
For free.
piano,
For free.
guitar.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is free. I think Javier's going to be there doing percussion this time. We also have some jam sessions. So if you want to, I think this time there'll be a funk jam session with one of our teachers called Maestro. There'll be a string orchestra jam.
So just bring your instrument.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. You
whatever
meet
level.
people, and
Wow.
it's super, super fun.
You guys, tell me something. How many people come through this center a year?
2,400, but we have a branch in the Richmond district as well. So between the two branches and our off-site classes.
There's a branch out at, it's around 30th and Balboa. Between Balboa
I know
and
that.
Cabrillo.
Yeah, the real.
Out there, out there by the Golden Gate Park.
Yeah,
Yeah, in the Richmond.
yeah.
And it's actually beautiful out there. Real peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice campus.
It's pretty out there.
Yeah, it is.
Very,
There's lots of trees
very
around.
mundane
and-
and very smooth out there.
Yeah,
You know, again, these guys are here and they're providing a lot of people with a lot of good stuff. They're taking kids from their element, from a negative element to a positive element. And on a serious basis, you know, I love to joke and have a good time with the public. But I want you to donate. I want you to actually pick up something, you know, money, instruments, something, and I want you to donate to these guys because this is where it is. When everybody starts to talk and they're complaining about what young people are not doing, I want you to do something to make them do something that's positive and keep them from what they're not supposed to do. Did I say that right?
mm-hmm.
Amen. Mercy. Right? Sylvia, tell me something. Teaching, how does that make you feel? What generates you to keep on teaching?
Well, I do less teaching than Traeger, so I think Traeger should definitely answer that one.
Okay.
Well, I look forward to teaching every day. I look forward to seeing the students. All the students are, you know, everybody has their own challenges
Right.
and their own. Everybody has different things that they need to work on. So that makes the job really interesting for me, is to be able to identify, you know, how it is. There's this person sitting here with the violin in his hand. You know, how are we gonna play some music together? How are you gonna get to be able to play this piece? And I like working with the students and trying to work out, you know, a plan, how they can do it. Because I always say that there's a lot of times the student doesn't learn so much in the lesson as that the student learns when he's practicing at home by himself or
It's about life.
outside
really.
of the lesson.
It's about life.
And
really.
that it's not my job to necessarily make them play the instrument. It's my job to kind of show them how to teach themselves how to play the instrument.
Right.
And so it's just, you know, it's a real nice, it's a good job actually.
You guys want to put a chronological list of events that you're going to have in the next 6 months? You got a list?
Oh, there's a lot of them. So our website is definitely the best place
So
to
where's
go
your
for that.
website at?
It's San Francisco Community Music Center, so sfcmc.org. But I'm thinking about, gosh, which ones? There's a few kind of special things that are happening.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
right.
Because the summertime is coming.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
springtime.
Well, there's also the gala with Regina Carter.
Oh,
I
right.
mean, that's kind of a big deal.
Yep,
That's a big deal.
We got Regina Carter going to play at the gala, which is a fundraising event.
That's in May.
She will give a.
Where's that going to be at?
That's going to be at the Four Seasons Hotel downtown.
Ooh.
Yeah, we don't play that.
Yeah, we're
That's a
trying
big
to-
deal.
You guys are getting highfalutin now.
Well, we got to raise that 1.9 million for the scholarship program. So.
I need you to, Gina, we're going to hook up and I'll be there.
Okay.
Things go right.
All
You know,
right.
and I have to be reminded because reminders like this.
You're listening to Thoughts of a Common Man with Charles the Chief Williams on Radio Valencia, the sounds of the mission.
Hey, we're back here loving. You want to talk about that song, Sylvia?
Sure. That one is a nice one by Maestro.
It's soothing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, and funky.
Maestro.
Maestro Curtis. He came to CMC to participate in the choir project. So first he and his wife Nola led the older adult choir in the Western Edition. And then they picked up another choir in Bayview, Hunters Point, and
Wow.
the Dr. Davis Senior Center. They have a new housing complex, a really amazing, beautiful center in Bayview. And now they have a third choir out by state at IT Bookman. So they've been doing a great job working with older adults, doing music, gospel, a lot of gospel music, some jazz. And they do performances out in the community at the senior centers, and also they've done the Black Cuisine Festival in Bayview. But they give their heart and soul. And so people love them in the choirs. And they also teach at CMC here at Cap Street. Maestro teaches piano and Nola voice. And they're pretty sought after teachers. Maestro is talking about this at the break. He, real deal jazz, piano, gospel. He knows, the lineage of so many different musicians and composers, and he can teach you about the style of each one of them in the whole, history of jazz. So some of our faculty take from him, like longtime faculty, and they talk about how he's done a really great job in showing them how to play jazz. And then Nola, I was listening to her teach this morning. She's got an amazing voice. Oh my gosh, they have a group together, professional group. You get a chance to hear them. Just her voice is beautiful, and she brings that out in her students.
Wow.
So this morning I was just walking by actually on the way here and heard her students singing Moon River, and I was just, wow, that was so beautiful. So she brings out that silky yet powerful quality.
I know what you
People's
mean.
voices.
Yes, I know what you mean. My voice is silky and smooth and some shit like that, Anyway,
So-
we are here with two of the most beautiful people of the day, really, and we're talking about making people feel good in a climate of really long-term goals. What we're going through as people. You guys are magnanimous.
Well, thank you for the props.
I mean,
Seriously.
really, our teachers, we have like 120 faculty, and many of them are...
How many?
120. Yeah, you gotta teach
Get
those
outta here.
2,400 students, yeah. Not
Yeah.
everyone's full-time. Some people might just,
Whoa.
come in and give a couple hours, and then other people work, larger chunks.
Most are part-time, most are part-time.
But they, in and of their own right, are involved in such interesting community work. And when things are at their best, they bring their students along. So we were just talking about Maestro Nola, and their kids, go to elementary school here, and they wanted to help them build their music program. So they did a benefit at the African American Culture Center. This was like 2 years ago now. And they brought the older adult choirs there. And it was such a great event. I mean, the older adults, they went out, there was some stories, including a broken elevator that we were all caught in, but these are the things that happen. They were singing, they were having a great time, they weren't
We're
worried.
talking about people making people feel good in today's
Exactly.
society, and that's a rarity.
And they actually invited Dorothy Morrison from Oh Happy Day fame. Remember that?
Oh
great
my
song?
God! Oh Happy Day, yeah.
She came and sung with the choirs in this benefit for this elementary school, and it was a win-win-win. It was amazing. And she actually came back and sung with the choirs at this big event they did last January. So, that's the amazing thing, that our faculty are so connected to community, and then they provide these opportunities to bring the students into what they do.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times that I've heard from, especially in group classes with adults. I've heard so many times the folks coming into class saying, "Oh, I'm so glad to be here. This is a real respite away from all the, just to
Stuff.
get away from all the stuff, from all the
Yeah.
news, and just get together and play some music, just do something positive." And not that we're going to forget about all that stuff, but that. We need a respite,
It's a pleasant diversion, isn't it?
and we need something positive.
Yeah.
That's good for so many different reasons.
So what's the youngest age you guys got kids?
We take usually, I think as you were saying, we're starting to work with preschool kids and
Really?
work in preschools. Usually for private lessons it's 7, but sometimes we take younger. But we also, go ahead, Sylvia, you were going to say
Well,
something.
we have a family music program, so that's like 0 to 3 with mom, dad, or a caregiver, and they performed last November, so I guess 1 or 2 might be that youngest, but they don't usually perform. It's not about performance at that age. But yeah, we do the whole life cycle from
Cradle to
The box.
till 96.
Yeah, the box. He's singing, "Lord help me." And I'm going, "Yes, guys."
But we have staff, we have faculty who teach songwriting.
Really?
And I think that this is a time when people are going to be doing some more songwriting, because it's natural to want to express yourself when things are changing. Whether it's personal change, how many songs of love and, despair do we know for personal reasons, but when the whole society is changing, it's another time to be songwriting. And I think that's a tremendous thing. That's a tremendous opportunity to be able to figure out how to put that into music, because it's so powerful when you hear a song that hits you and changes your life.
Well, the thing of it is, I think you have the point of the day, and the fact that in the political scene today, where we're going through the evolution of change, great change, we need to be able to express ourselves. Expression makes life so much palatable, and it kind of makes you feel like you're a whole person instead of, and older people in this program, I was blown away. What in the hell made you want to bring in the gray hairs?
Well, CMC's always understood that learning happens at all ages, and actually has always had a really generous discount for older adults out of respect that, at that time in your life, you've worked your whole life, and you may not be working anymore, so let's make it accessible for older adults to keep involved in music, or to start for the first time. But I think that there was a realization, it was actually before I came onto staff, the predecessors, we had an older adult who was on staff, and she realized, to really make it easy for people, we should be out where older adults gather, and that's at the senior centers. And that's where we started doing the choir program right at Mission Neighborhood Center in Neighbor, and it caught fire. People were so excited. They did a performance at the 30th Street Center, and they went, wait a second, we want one of those here.
Wow.
And then that caught the attention of actually a researcher at UCSF who was interested in this phenomenon of what are the health benefits for older adults who sing in choirs. And so she actually applied to the National Institutes of Health to fund a study that would look at that phenomenon and asked us to partner with her in that process. And that's how we ended up
Wait a minute,
growing.
whoa, back up.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. We're in the 5th year now of a study that is documenting what are the health benefits. And so
Wow.
for them to study that, choirs were started at all of these different senior centers so that they could see what are the health benefits regardless of, what neighborhood you're in or what your background is. Will those same health benefits be true? And so we're waiting for those results. It'll come out in April or May.
So how many people are involved in this?
Well, we have about 350 people involved in the choir program, maybe a little bit more. There was 12 choirs started through that study. We had our original 2, and we've kept those choirs going. They each had 1 year in the study, and then we've kept them going because the demand from the choir members and the senior centers was, we don't want to stop after 1 year, let's keep going.
Yeah.
So that's been our challenge and our opportunity to keep it going, and they are still singing.
And how many people involved in this?
It's about 350 or a little bit more, yeah.
What did it say?
And that's,
One person affects 10 people?
yeah. And that's just in the choir program too. We also have a lot of seniors that just actually come through the door.
Really?
And they're looking for lessons. I've had many students over the age of 80 in the last 17 years that I've been teaching at the program. I mean,
It's about 10% of our,
Yeah, so-
of our 2,400 students are older adults.
and San Francisco's getting older.
Yeah, it is.
It's getting older. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it
not-
is. Damn it, it's getting older.
We're not getting any younger here. And those old folks can hardly afford to live here, much less the young folks.
Thank you very much, young man. Shut up! You got it. You blew the door off the old chicken coop.
Well, I was just speaking about
you-
yours truly.
You're right. Yeah, I have to say, you got a very, very good point. Our society is aging, and there are a lot of people who are having to work longer now and to survive longer. And things like this really help you mentally. And that's the biggest part about getting old, the psychology of getting old. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that right?
Sure.
I think I did.
I think the whole thing is that, we're breaking free from that. Because there
Breaking
should
barriers.
be no psychology about getting old. It's
Okay.
really all about staying young. Staying young is good advice.
Okay, I'm going to say
Oh, boy.
You're listening to Thoughts of a Common Man with Charles the Chief Williams on Radio Valencia, the sounds of the mission.
And we're back here with Trevor and Sylvia. And we just talking about good stuff. Sylvia, who is that?
Well, that is a group called Rumbache. And
Rumbache.
Yeah, one of our faculty members, the great Omar Ledesma, plays with them. He and Javier, actually I neglected to mention this, they are both Grammy Award winning musicians for their work with Pacific Mambo Orchestra. And I wasn't able to find that CD, sorry Pacific Mambo Orchestra, but happily I did have a CD of Rumbache, who also does great work, a great local band that Omar plays with. Omar, amazing, teaches percussion at CMC. So if you want to learn about Latin percussion, he's the guy, or trap set. And he even does a class for kids. He has a group class for 8 to 12-year-olds who are learning how to play Latin percussion. And it's the whole deal. He counts them off. They each got to do their part. There's like polyrhythms, and they're a nice little ensemble.
I want to be Shu-E for the day.
There you go. You can be Sheila. Go on, you can. He does that with adults too. There's an adult ensemble, so there you go. So we're really proud to have faculty like that at CMC.
So let's blow that number by you again for the donation and your center, where it is, and your hours that you open.
Yeah.
And tell people to get their buns on down and have a good time. Shake off this negative stuff, am I right?
Absolutely. I mean, you can come visit us at Cap Street between 20th and 21st. We've got performances just about every weekend, and you can find us online at sfcmc.org to see about how to take a class or what events we have coming up. You know, it's pretty easy. You can just walk in and sign up.
And we're open 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night.
Some days
Yeah,
till 10.
Some
Yeah.
days till 10, yeah.
And if you're a senior citizen, and you want to do some stuff and bring your old stuff back, you know, from the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, you guys are open to that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, anybody who used to play an instrument, or if you never played an instrument before, but I think a lot of folks played instruments when they were younger.
Sure.
And it really makes a big difference actually if you
I used
just
to
a little
play
bit.
guitar when I was a kid. I don't know what happened to that, but
You
I
probably
was-
still can remember something.
I was pretty good. You know, back, 60, 70, 60 years ago. I used to sit out there and play in the dark, you know, when things were, in the 50s. And my mom passed in the 50s. I would sit for hours and hours and hours just, I haven't done that for years. Maybe I'll just pick it back up again.
You know, you might want to come visit this guy, David Russell. He's actually a Grammy Award-winning artist, and he's going to be February 24th at CMC, one of those concert with conversations. So feel free to come by and say hi, or any of our listeners, just come on by and get a sense of what CMC is like.
Yeah, I love Sinatra. I love Sinatra.
Who doesn't?
Oh, God. I mean, I
How
used
can
to,
you not?
Satchmo, all those people. Dinah Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Nina Simone. I love those. And I'm going to try to sing some of that one day. Yeah, look at
Come on, and you know what? NOLA will help you realize that dream. We are in the business of realizing dreams.
I can do that.
I'd love to see that.
Let's put our numbers out there one more time. Oh, where you at? Cap Street?
So we're at 544 Cap Street between 20th and 21st.
We need a phone number too.
647-6015 and 415.
Wow.
You know, one of the things that we have coming up that I definitely want to share for listeners who have kids or nephews or grandkids is that we have amazing camp opportunities for kids in the
Oh,
summertime. All
Summer
levels.
camp.
Summer camp.
Now
And
that's what I'm talking
you know,
about.
that's when kids kind of come out, that what Traeger was talking about, getting out of, just practicing your instrument and playing with others. That's what camp is all about, and for having a good time and making friends. So the last selection that we're going to hear before we leave is actually from Hector Lugo, an acclaimed Puerto Rican musician who's really done a lot in the Bay
Puerto
Area.
Ricaña.
Done a lot
Oh,
to
God.
share what is traditional Puerto Rican music, and he does a camp with acclaimed musicians Jorge Lisiaga and Cecilia Peña Govea from a longtime family of musicians, the Familia Peña Govea. They're going to be our CMC musical discovery camp. So that's
Wow.
for kids who've never played an instrument. You can come in, you can play drums, you can sing, you can learn how to play guitar, and at the end of the week, you're going to be playing some music for your families.
Wow.
So that's one of our camps. Traeger's in the next camp for kids who've played a little bit, who've already started on an instrument, and this can be their first band experience. So they do all kinds of music, whether it's, Latin American or
Irish.
folk or Irish, fiddling.
A lot of
And-
Latin stuff, play a lot of musical games.
Yeah, so
Good.
that's a great one for kids ages 9 to 14. Then we have actually a concert band camp for the first time this year and chamber music camp. So
Yeah.
that's something to check out.
And what are the hours at the center like?
Well, the hours, people can come in as early as 9, and you can come in to just practice on one of our pianos if that's what you want to do, or lessons go from there all the way till 10 p.m. on some days, 9 p.m. on
You
others.
still open on Sundays?
We're still open on
Still open
Sundays, 9 to
Sunday. I never
3.
go on the weekend.
Oh, 93.
And then events happen, usually the weekends, because we have classes during the week, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Wow.
So 7 days a week.
7. Wow. I can sing every day.
Lock the doors!
Sing twice a day.
Buy
Twice a day.
earplugs! Lock the doors!
We have a few students who are there 7 days a week. We do.
You know what? With all this food around us and all this music around us, we can have a good time.
Absolutely.
I come here in the mission and I smell every day. And I leave, I run the hell out of here because I can start eating at one end and eat until the other end.
Well, that's why Valencia has a block party in the summer, so we can do
Wow.
just that.
Wow. Okay, you
But
guys.
you want to tell us a little bit about Afrotania Flamboyant?
Okay, yeah, so this is the cut by Hector Lugo, Afro Taino, so it's a blending of indigenous Puerto Rican and the African roots of Puerto Rican culture. And, he's just an amazing storyteller, historian, so the kids, when they come to his camp, they learn all about the history of Puerto Rican music, Caribbean music, Mexican music with him and Jorge. And this is a beautiful song. I love this group. It's called La Mixta Criolla.
And we're going to close out with that today. I hope everyone enjoyed the show. And happy birthday, 95 years, the Community Music Center.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you to both of you of
Thanks.
Radio Valencia. What a wonderful institution for the community to be able to hear from voices. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yes. And we're out of here.
Era tan paciente, muchachita divina. Al ver que